What is up everyone, and welcome back to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. Last time out, we were at the Dutch Grand Prix, and despite the fact that I boldly predicted that we were going to score some good points there, we just didn't seem to have the pace compared to our opponents. We were getting out-dragged in a straight line on just about every occasion, and we ended up coming home in P13, despite my best efforts to try and stay within the points. I just couldn't manage it. But we are here now, and it is going to be time for the Italian Grand Prix, and this time I'm not going to boldly predict that we're going to finish in the points, because I don't believe it's going to happen, quite frankly. This is a track that I've always gone poorly at. I've never really been particularly good around Monza. It's a track that, you know, we're always lacking in that straight line speed. We always get out dragged on the exit of the corners by our opponents. I really just can't see a world in which there's any hope for us here. So yeah, for that reason and that reason alone, I am going to say that we're probably not going to get a good result here, and the best I'm going to be is pleasantly surprised. You obviously saw there we invested in another facility upgrade, which means we're going to have all Spec 2 on the car part facilities, and then we can start working on getting to Spec 2 with the personnel and marketing facilities, which is going to be useful as well for boosting our team acclaim and whatnot. But yeah, we're going to be able to do some more durability upgrades once that one comes on the car as well, which is going to be good because you know, we've had, I think, 3 mechanical failures this season in Azerbaijan, Miami, and then most recently in Hungary. 2 of those were coming from very solid point scoring positions. So yeah, something that we definitely need to get on top of, otherwise we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Apparently we have another power unit upgrade that came on in time for this race, which is fantastic. You can see that it pushes us quite close to Ferrari and McLaren, who are apparently 2 of the worst teams on the grid. At this point, the field spread is so close, though, that honestly, I think it's entirely dependent on driver skill. You know, maybe the top 3 teams, you could make an argument for being a bit better than the rest of them. But other than that, I think the field spread is so close that it honestly doesn't matter how good the car is. It's entirely dependent on the driver, and also dependent on the individual strengths of the car from track to track. You know, there's going to be circuits where we're going to go well. There's going to be circuits where we don't go well. At the moment, we seem to be on a streak of circuits where we don't go well. But hopefully we can turn things around. Unfortunately, next up is Singapore, which is also not a track that I've done particularly well at in recent times. But hopefully, eventually, we should be able to get to a place where I can score some points once again. Because, you know, this P6 in the Constructors isn't guaranteed. We are pretty far ahead of everyone else right now. But, you know, how quickly the night changes, it could be McLaren or Alpine getting just a few good results, and they could catch up with us. We had pretty decent pace in practice here. You know, we were P6, which I think is pretty good. We were on a set of soft compound tyres when a lot of people only ran mediums. But, you know, I still think that at a time like that, if we can convert that kind of pace into qualifying, then we should be able to reach at least Q2. I'm not sure about Q3. I tend to not go particularly well in Monza qualifying, especially if it's going to be raining. I think it's going to be quite hard for us to get out into Q3. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Obviously, I'm just going to push as hard as I can and try to make my way as far up the order as I can. But yeah, historically, I mean, even in seasons where we've had a championship contending car, which we definitely don't have at the moment, even when we've had a championship contending car, I've still had it where I've qualified like, you know, P17 in Monza. This is just an absolute bogey track for me in every sense of the word. So we're on our first flying lap. It's a 1:19.5. That is not very good at all. We split the Williams, who, you know, I think probably have the weakest driver pairing on the grid at the moment in Sargent and Fittipaldi. So yeah, really we need to do a lot better than that. In fact, it was only good enough for P21 as we look at the moment. So I'm definitely going to need to improve quite significantly. Fortunately, I did just that. We're about 9/10 up as we cross the line. 1:18.6. Was that good enough to get us through? Yes, but only in P13. So we probably need a little bit more improvement over that 1:18.6 if we want to have any chance of making it through to Q2. The 2 Red Bulls fastest on this occasion, and then Gasly actually was next fastest after that. The eliminated drivers were Joe, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Dennis Hauger, Sargent, and Fittipaldi. So yeah, Hauger doing well to get himself off the back row there. Actually 5 tenths faster than Sargent, and only a couple tenths off of making it through as well. So yeah, a good result from him. But yeah, very disappointing for the likes of Joe and Hulkenberg, who, you know, at times this season, those cars have looked very, very good. But on this occasion, it just doesn't seem to be the case. We're on our first flying lap of Q2, and we've been blocked by ALBON. I would be surprised if he doesn't get a grid penalty for that. He definitely deserves one. He was fully on the racing line, not even on an actual lap. He was just, you know, just dicking around for no reason, racing with Charles Leclerc, even though I think Charles Leclerc might be on a push lap as well by the looks of things. So he's just trying to screw over as many people as he can by the looks of things. It caused us to do a 118.9, and that was on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, which I went on because I knew that there was going to be some rain coming towards the end of the session, so I decided to take the fresh set early rather than use the used set to begin with. And that meant that we were stuck with a used set for this session, or for this run. And you can see that through the Ascari chicane, when we got blocked by ALBON, we made up no less than 0.6 of a second, which means to me that we probably could have done a 118.3 or thereabouts if we'd have been on a fresh set of tyres. But coupled with the fact that the line is getting a little bit greasy now because the rain is starting to come down just a tiny bit, and we're on a used set of tyres, we don't improve. We're 0.4 slower on this occasion, and we are eliminated from qualifying in Q2 in P15. So that's not what we would have wanted at all. And let's see what a 118.3 would have got us on this occasion. We would have been through. We would have been probably 10th or maybe 9th or something like that. And that would have been fine. You know, all I wanted to do was get through to Q3. I didn't really mind other than that. ALBON, annoyingly, is ahead of us, but he didn't get through to Q3 at least, I guess. So that's maybe the one saving grace here. But wow, that is immensely frustrating because we absolutely, I think, had the potential to get through to Q3 there. And it kind of got taken away from us by being blocked on the racing line through a chicane by someone who wasn't on a flying lap, and I don't even think he got a penalty for that. So I think that is I think that's absolutely appalling, quite frankly. But you know, that's what they decided to do, and that's what we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to just start the race from P15 and see if we can recover from there to maybe get into the points. I really don't think it's going to happen from P15. I think we needed to be starting in the points. But the good thing about Monza, at least, is that, you know, it is quite a long run down to turn 1. Maybe I'll be able to make up a few positions, who knows, and then maybe after we've made up, you know, 2 or 3 positions off the start, we only have to make up a couple more, and then we'll be in the points. So that's going to be what I'm hoping for. Before we do anything else, though, we do actually have quite a few resource points, 1,700 in the bank. So we're going to do another aero upgrade. You might be surprised to learn that yes, there actually are more aero upgrades that we can do at the moment, despite the fact that we don't have Spec 3 facility. I'm just going to go standard on that one, so that one might come on in time for the Japanese Grand Prix if it doesn't fail. And then we've also got an engine one as well, a fuel efficiency upgrade, which we can get on the car in time for Japan as well. So Japan, we're going to be bringing another big upgrade package by the looks of things. And let's see what we can do as we get into the Italian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the venue of evocative corner names, like Parabolica, which was renamed in 2021 to Curva Alboreto, in honour of Italian motorsport legend Michele Alboreto. It's a fitting tribute to him here at Monza, ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Gasly, Leclerc, Bottas, Ocon, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Norris, Magnussen, Stroll, Robinson, De Vries, Joe, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Hauger, Sargent, and Enzo Fittipaldi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
It's a fair question. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? It will probably be the Red Bulls, which honestly they need, because Alonso is starting to pull away in this championship a little bit after a strong series of results. But, you know, he's not starting quite so high up today. So it could be a good opportunity for them to get back at him in the championship. Meanwhile, for us, we need to be really concerned about the fact that it seems like the Alpines are really strong at the moment. You know, they're both starting within the top 10. Gasly starting very high up, I think, actually. So yeah, that could pose a bit of a threat to us if they're going to have this level of pace towards the end of the season as well. We could be battling with them, who knows, but we'll see what we can do now as the lights come on and the lights go out, and we've had a very good getaway compared to the two cars in front of us, Stroll and Magnussen. We get ahead of Piastri as well. Norris gets blocked off by those cars in front, and we're able to get ahead of him, and not only him, but we're also challenging Esteban Ocon on the run down to turn 1. We brake quite late, and we got up the inside of Albon, Tsunoda, and Bottas. Can we get around the outside of Bottas here? We have to take to the exit of the track, because Tsunoda was trying to drive basically directly into the side of us. But yeah, by some miracle, we have made up 8 positions off of the start, and we are up into P7 now. So yeah, that is pretty good, and we'll see what we can do as we continue our run throughout this Italian Grand Prix. We'll see if we can hold off these cars behind. But you can see that the gap out in front to Gasly is already 2 seconds. You know, just because Tsunoda basically drove me off the track, it meant that I lost quite a lot of time to the cars in front. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about this too much. If we can finish P7, that would be fantastic. I don't imagine it will happen. I think we will start to get overtaken by the cars behind us sooner rather than later, but I'll push as hard as I can to try and avoid that from happening. But, yeah, we just have to see what we can do here, really. The cars around us are going to be a lot faster, I think. You know, the AlphaTauri is not a great car, but the Alfa Romeo has been pretty solid for the most recent races. The Mercedes, obviously, is one of the strongest cars on the grid. And yeah, the Alpine seems to be looking really good here in Monza as well. So it's going to be difficult. We're going to battle with Albon now as we come on the run down to turn 1, and I mean, he just completely cuts us off there. He would have been driving into the side of us entirely. I think we're lucky we didn't get away with damage there when he made a bit of contact with us. But yeah, generally speaking, not quite what we wanted. We're now coming under pressure from both Tsunoda and Bottas as we come to the Parabolica, but neither of them can get quite close enough to make the move stick. So I think as we run through the Parabolica, we are going to hold on to this this P8. But Bottas is going to come back at us now. Tsunoda's fallen away a little bit. But here goes Bottas. We're going to tuck into the slipstream, see if we can get back at him. And with the slipstream, we do gain on him quite a lot as we come on the run down to turn 1. We're going to try and dive around the outside of him, which switches to the inside for the next part of the chicane. And that is going to be us back up into P8 for the time being. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bottas mounts a bit more pressure yet. You can see he's closing us down once again as we come on the run down to the next chicane. The gap is just less than a tenth now. He's going to be getting ahead. We're going to be wheel to wheel going into the next chicane. Who's going to win out? Will it be me? Will it be Bottas? We make a bit more contact there. I think we're very lucky not to get damage from that one, especially considering we didn't get damage from the first one. But yeah, that is Bottas up into P8. Maybe we can fight back at him still. There is a DRS zone coming up, of course, and DRS is enabled because it is lap 3 of this Italian Grand Prix. And yeah, we're going to try and pile the pressure on him now if we possibly can. We're going to go to the inside as we come on the run down to the Ascari chicane. We don't quite have enough distance on him to tuck back to the outside, so he does try to dive up around the outside and switch to the inside, but he can't quite make the move stick. And that is us up into P8 once again. This is a great scrap with Bottas right now for P8. I don't know who's going to win out in the long run. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Bottas, but actually, because he got pinched to the inside of the Ascari chicane, he lost out to both Ocon and Tsunoda there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of these two guys now trying to pile the pressure on me. You can see Ocon, the gap is only about 4/10 or so. I burned a little bit of battery here to try and keep him at bay, but I didn't burn too much. And yeah, Ocon has closed the gap quite significantly. Is he going to go for the move? Not quite. And yeah, we just about managed to hold on to P8 for the time being. As we move through now to lap 5, you can see that I have managed to keep Ocon and Tsunoda at bay. They're battling with each other. I can only hope that they continue doing that, because I think it's going to be about the only way that we retain this P8. Albon, meanwhile, has actually managed to get ahead of the Ferrari of Leclerc. I mean, the Ferrari is one of the worst cars on the grid at the moment, right? Second only to our car. And here's why our car is so bad, because it's completely lacking in durability and reliability more than anything. And we've had another mechanical failure, our 4th of the season. And yeah, this one isn't quite as hard to take as the ones in Miami and Hungary, because at least we weren't running in what could potentially have been a podium position, but we still were in a very strong position here. You know, we could have been scoring points at Monza, which is something that isn't easy to do, and that has kind of just been cruelly stripped away from us as a result of this mechanical failure. So yeah, that is difficult. It means we don't even get the chance to fight for points, you know, maybe with some safety cars and with some unreliability up front. Who knows what could have happened. But we'll never find out. We'll never know whether we were on the right strategy or these kinds of things. And we'll just have to try and come back stronger in Singapore.
Here we are then. It's a thoroughly deserved win here in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Yep, it is a Red Bull 1-2 as Max Verstappen tries to get his hands back on the championship lead if he can. I don't know if he's quite done enough here on this occasion, but yeah, that is going to be him picking up some crucial points in the championship. Speaking of crucial points in the championship, Pierre Gasly got P3, and that means that, well, they're going to close us down quite a lot in the Constructors' Championship, Alpine, that is. So, yeah, we're going to have to really focus our efforts on that fight now.
So let's review the updated drivers' standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Somehow we still have stayed P6 in the driver's standings, which I don't understand, because we've been having a shocking run of form, but I could definitely see us falling down a number of positions before the season is over. Yeah, meanwhile, we're still P6 in the Constructors, 22 points ahead of Alpine, but we really do need to start focusing on picking up some solid points for the team soon if we want to have any chance of holding on to this in these last few races. You know, Singapore, we don't have a particularly good chassis, so I don't know if that track's going to go particularly well for us. Couple that with the fact that I also just don't think I'm very good around Singapore, individually speaking. But once we get through there, I think after that, basically all the races we've got coming up are going to be good ones. I can't remember which track it is that isn't on the calendar in the end of the season. It's either Abu Dhabi or Mexico, I think. I can't imagine it being any of the others. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was Mexico because of how pitiful Mexico was last season. So yeah, we've got a number of good tracks for me coming up though. Japan, I think, will go well. Qatar, maybe not, but Texas I do think will go well. We've got Portugal, we've got Brazil. You know, all of these tracks I do think have the potential to go quite well for us. So yeah, I'll be optimistic to see what kind of pace we can showcase at the upcoming races, and hopefully pick up some more points in our fight with Alpine for P6 in the Constructors. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.